Right, hello everyone. I'm Jane. I am the Student Systems Advisor here at Kingston, which, as well as SEATS, means I look after some other systems, and I'm based within Access, Participation and Inclusion, which is our fancy name for widening participation. And we look after, so we have our education liaison and outreach, we have our then student journey, so transition and welcome, student enrichment, so their extracurriculars while they're here at Kingston, and then we have SEATS as well. So, SEATS was brought into Kingston in 2017. It was a pilot project in our business school. We then university-wide in 2018 and have been carrying on since. We do not use it for attendance monitoring, so very different to Solent. We use it specifically for student welfare. It is a project of care here at Kingston. We have 4 faculties. The only one it's currently not being used at is the Kingston School of Art, and it's mainly because they have a different way of studying to the rest of the university. They have their studio time, they have their tutorials, and they are artists and don't need to check in. So that is why they are not using it at the moment. We are hoping to bring them properly on board for next year. They've had some changes in terms of which courses are within the school, and some of those courses who were previously using it in their old faculty have started to come on board, so that's been quite useful. We have a KU check-in team here, so that's myself and our 2 lovely administrators who are here today. So I look after sort of the wider aspects of check-in, whereas Aruba and Amy deal with the mailbox and answering those, well, the app didn't work and I don't know what to do about this, so they do all the groundwork, which is great. We refer students onto our student achievement advisors, so there are 5 of them working within the faculties, and they are proactively contacting those students to say, look, we've noticed your attendance is a bit low, what can we help with? Also, vice versa, if we notice something, so say we did have a couple of students recently who hadn't been checking in, but they were living in halls, so we were able to say to them, look, you need to contact these students, they're living in our residences, they haven't been checking in, and it turned out that one of them just didn't like his course and didn't want to come, so we managed to facilitate a change of course for him, which was quite easily done. So students with under 30% attendance across our 3 other faculties are contacted fortnightly to check in and give details of the support services. So it is an email that just says, we've noticed you haven't been checking in, is everything okay, what can we help with, and has a few links to our different support services here at Kingston. We get quite a few emails back. At the beginning of term, there is a lot that say, oh my gosh, I didn't know about this, what do I do? How do I check in? What do I need? So we'll send them, we've got videos, guides, all sorts that we'll send them. That they've lost their card, they've broken their card, the app doesn't work, something along those lines, which we're able to point them in the right direction. We do get emails saying, I've had a bereavement. My mental health isn't great, all sorts of things like that, which we then refer them onto the student achievement advisors or onto the specific service that they might need here at Kingston. You know, we've had a couple that have said, oh well, I'm having some family issues, and we have our KU Cares team who specifically look after students who are care leavers, estranged from their families, young adult carers, so we're able to specifically refer them onto that service. They also contact us about absences, so we get a lot of, I'm not going to be in today, I've got a cold, but also absences in terms of, so our primary teaching course, they'll contact us and say, I'm going to an interview at a school, I'm not going to be here today. So it just allows us to log those absences for them in the system. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the data that we've been looking at recently. So I did this just before Christmas to allow us a wider picture of what was going on here at Kingston. So it's sort of all good and well contacting these students and saying, this is what we've noticed, you know, they're not attending, but we wanted to see if there were wider factors contributing to those. So two faculties, Science, Engineering and Computing and Business and Social Science. They were using the system as we wished them to use it. Our other faculty, Healthcare, they're using it for, they have attendance requirements on their courses, so they're using it very differently. So these two faculties were easy to look at the data and pull it together. So we found 250 students who had 0% attendance recorded at either teaching week 3, 5 or 7. So they could have attended 0% in teaching week 3 and then gone up to 50% by teaching week 7, or vice versa, had 50% in teaching week 3 and gone down to 0 by teaching week 7. I wanted to do that so that we weren't just looking at students who had attendance, because there's a picture across time of students who enroll and then decide they don't like the course, they're not coming, or they can't be bothered to travel that far, or whatever's going on. So I wanted to pick it out over those weeks. We then combined the data with data from other sources, so our student CRM, SEATS, Canvas, which is our VLE, and emails to KU check-in to see if we could gain a wider understanding of what was going on. And what we found was actually really interesting and aligns with a lot of the other data that we have here at Kingston. So 50% of those students enrolled through clearing and therefore enrolled late, which then has a knock-on effect for everything else. They miss welcome, and specifically with SEATS, they miss their induction to SEATS. They don't know how the system works, they then don't use it. With clearing as well, as I'm sure some of you will know, there is a problem with student finance. So once a student goes through clearing and they change their university, they then have to change their student finance, and in some cases that can take up to 6 weeks to process, meaning that that student doesn't have any student finance for the first 6 weeks of term. 77% of those students are commuter students, so Kingston is it's a commuter student university. A lot of our students are from Greater London. 38% of them are repeating students, which obviously it depends on the repeat that they're doing, but if they're only repeating one module, they might think, well, I did this all last year, I don't need to go, I'll just submit the assessments. So just being a bit more aware of what those students are doing. And 33% of those students already for the year, so I did this just before Christmas, had an interaction with our Services for Students team already. So they'd already spoken to our finance team, our accommodation team, well-being, health, sort of all of those other teams that can help us. So we were able to put together a bigger picture of why those students might not be here. So our institutional data says the same thing, which is great, but it helps contribute to the aims of our access and participation plan. So as a wider group, 59% of KU students commute to campus. So we've got a huge amount of students, probably, you wake up in the morning, you look out the window, it's raining, you think, I'm not going. And when they can access things online, they think, well, I don't really need to go to that lecture, I'm not going to bother. So we are looking at widening our resource online for commuter students. Students from disadvantaged backgrounds are more likely than the wider cohort to enrol through clearing those students and look at our welcome and transition programme for clearing students. And students are less likely to continue into the second year of study if they are commuters or clearing entrants. So again, we're able to look at that and see what we can do to help. What we've done with this data, so we have convened a task and finish group, which has been chaired by the PVC of Education to consider our holistic approach to student engagement. So that's taking data from a wide range of sources, putting it all together and just using it to help students more than we already are, which is going to be great. We're working on that at the moment. It's not quite finished yet, but the fact that we were able to convene that group when getting to this point has been a tricky journey with the university itself. That's been a really positive step. We are already working on further information and a longer induction for students who are coming through clearing or enrolling late. So making sure that all of the welcome information is available online for those students, and making sure that there is someone at the late enrolment centre to help them with technology. And it's also just shown us the importance of joined up data within the institution. I know that a lot of universities don't have a student CRM, a lot of universities do, but we are one that doesn't. And it's just really helped us see the importance of having that data all together, so that, you know, a student isn't repeating themselves 5 different times to 5 different people, and being able to just turn up at an office and go, well, I've had this problem, help me. And that person there has got access to absolutely everything that that student may need.